My former roommate tagged me in a post. 20 years later, and some of us actually succeeded. Bless see a life. Complete with a champagne emoji and a photo of her corner office overlooking downtown Seattle, deliberately choosing a picture where I looked exhausted at our last reunion while she sparkled in designer clothes. My teenage daughter Zoe saw the notification pop up on my phone while we were making dinner, her face flushing with anger. "Mom, that's so mean. Why would she do that?" I just laughed and kept chopping vegetables, because her board meeting was tomorrow, and agenda item 1, the one she hadn't seen yet, read: Primary investor requests full financial review of executive compensation and company expenditures. Let me tell you how I became the silent hand controlling my bully's destiny. Brittany Ashford and I were assigned as roommates freshman year at Stanford. She arrived with Louis Vuitton luggage, a BMW in the parking lot, and a smile that could charm professors and poison rivals in the same breath. I arrived with a scholarship, a second-hand laptop, and the naive belief that college would be different from high school. It wasn't. Brittany came from San Francisco tech royalty. Her father had sold a company in the first dot-com boom, and she'd grown up expecting the world to arrange itself around her convenience. I came from a small town in Nevada, the first in my family to attend a 4-year university, working 20 hours a week at the campus bookstore just to afford food. "You're on scholarship?" She'd wrinkled her nose when she learned this, as if poverty might be contagious. That must be so hard, having to actually work while we're supposed to be having the college experience. She said things like that constantly. Observations that sounded almost sympathetic, but cut like paper. Comments about my clothes, vintage is so brave. My study habits, some people just have to try harder. My dating life, not everyone can be picky, I guess. I survived by staying invisible. I kept my head down, made other friends, and counted the days until I could request a room change sophomore year. But Brittany never forgot me. I was useful to her, the comparison that made her shine brighter, the before to her after. She kept me close enough to mock but distant enough to deny it. 20 years later, she was still doing it. I didn't become wealthy through anything glamorous. After Stanford, I got a job at a mid-sized investment firm in Seattle. I was good with numbers, patient with research, and willing to work hours that burned out flashier colleagues. I made partner at 32, started my own fund at 38, and built a portfolio that consistently outperformed the market. I specialized in early-stage tech investments, identifying promising startups before they became obvious. I had a knack for seeing potential where others saw risk, and I'd turned that instinct into a fund worth $340 million. I wasn't famous. I wasn't on magazine covers. I didn't have a social media presence or attend industry parties. I preferred it that way. The less attention, the more freedom to work. My husband Marcus was a pediatric surgeon. Our daughter Zoe was 16, whip-smart, and fiercely protective of the people she loved. We lived comfortably but not ostentatiously, in a house we'd chosen for its garden, not its address. Brittany, meanwhile, had become exactly what she'd always intended to be, visible. She'd launched her startup, Elevate, 5 years ago, a corporate wellness platform that promised to revolutionize workplace mental health. The pitch was slick, the branding was expensive, and the actual product was mediocre. I'd seen dozens like it, but Brittany was a master of appearances. She'd cultivated a persona as a female founder breaking barriers, landed speaking gigs and podcast features, and built a following of people who mistook confidence for competence. When Elevate started seeking Series B funding, I paid attention. Not because I believed in the company, I didn't. The metrics were unimpressive, the churn rate was concerning, and the product reviews were mixed at best. But I saw something else, opportunity. Brittany had spent 20 years publicly diminishing me. Every reunion, every social media post, every casual mention of my quiet life was designed to position herself as the success story and me as the cautionary tale. She had no idea who I actually was. She'd never bothered to find out. I invested $4 million in Elevate through a holding company that obscured my identity. The terms were standard for a primary investor: board seat, quarterly reporting, approval rights over major decisions. Brittany's team did their due diligence on the holding company, found nothing alarming, and gratefully accepted the money. They never connected Hartwell Capital LLC to Natalie Hartwell Morrison. Why would they? To Brittany, I was still the scholarship girl from freshman year, the one who'd disappeared into some boring finance job, while she built an empire. For 3 years, I attended board meetings virtually, my camera off, my voice filtered through a lawyer who spoke on my behalf. I reviewed the financials, noted the concerning trends, and waited. I wasn't planning revenge. Not exactly. I was planning education. The social media post changed things. Brittany had always been performative, but tagging me directly, choosing a photo from our college reunion where I looked tired and she looked radiant, was a new level of deliberate cruelty. The comments were worse. Some people just don't have drive. Sat. Not everyone's meant to shine, Brittany. Don't feel bad for her. OMG Queen Energy. Crown. Zoe found the post before I did. Mom, look at this. She thrust her phone at me, her face flushed with adolescent outrage. Your old roommate is literally making fun of you online. Who does that? I read the post, the comments, the self-congratulatory hashtags. I felt something shift in my chest, not hurt, exactly. More like resolution. She's a bully, sweetheart. Always has been. Can't you do something? Report her? Expose her? I could. I smiled. But I have something better in mind. The board meeting was scheduled for Tuesday. I'd been a silent participant for 3 years, but the rules allowed any primary investor to request agenda items with 48 hours notice. On Sunday evening, I submitted mine through my lawyer. Agenda Item 1. Primary investor requests full financial review of executive compensation and company expenditures over the past 18 months. Agenda Item 2. Primary investor requests detailed analysis of customer acquisition costs versus lifetime value. Agenda Item 3. Primary investor will attend in person to discuss concerns regarding company direction. My lawyer added one final note. Asterisk Ms. Hartwell Morrison will be representing Hartwell Capital directly at this meeting. Tuesday arrived. Elevate's headquarters occupied a sleek floor in a downtown Seattle high-rise. The kind of space designed to impress visitors rather than optimize productivity. I took the elevator up, wearing a simple navy suit, carrying a leather portfolio with 3 years of documentation. The receptionist directed me to the conference room. I was early. The other board members filtered in over the next 15 minutes. A venture capitalist I'd worked with before, an angel investor I didn't recognize, Elevate's CFO looking nervous. They greeted me professionally, assuming I was someone's representative. Then Brittany arrived. She swept in wearing designer everything, her smile already in place for whoever had demanded this inconvenient agenda. She scanned the room, cataloging the faces, until she reached mine. She stopped. Natalie. Brittany. It's been a while. Her expression cycled through confusion, recognition, and something that looked almost like fear. What are you? Why are you here? I'm representing Hartwell Capital, your primary investor. I opened my portfolio. We have a lot to discuss. The meeting lasted 3 hours. I walked through every concern I'd accumulated over 3 years of silent observation. The excessive executive compensation. Brittany had given herself a $450,000 salary plus bonuses for a company that had never turned a profit. The questionable expenses, first-class flights, luxury hotels, a corporate retreat in Bali that looked suspiciously like a vacation. The misleading metrics presented to investors, customer counts that included free trial users who never converted, revenue projections based on assumptions that never materialized. Brittany tried to defend herself at first. These are standard CEO expenses. You don't understand how startups work. I've invested in 47 startups over the past decade. I understand exactly how they work. I slid a document across the table. I also understand that your burn rate gives you 8 months of runway at current spending. 11 if you cut executive compensation to industry standard. You can't just. I can. Primary investor rights, Section 4.3 of the agreement you signed. I have approval authority over executive compensation adjustments when the company falls below projected performance metrics. I pulled out another document, which you've done for 7 consecutive quarters. The other board members were reading along now, their expressions shifting from surprise to concern. The VC I knew caught my eye and nodded slightly, professional respect for a well-executed move. This is personal. Brittany's voice had gone shrill. This is because of that stupid post. You're trying to humiliate me because you tagged me in a public message calling me a failure? I kept my voice level. Brittany, I've managed a $340 million fund for 6 years. My returns have outperformed the S&P by 12% annually. I've had 3 exits over $100 million each. You've been so busy performing success that you never noticed I was actually achieving it. I didn't know. No, you didn't. Because you never thought I was worth paying attention to. I closed my portfolio. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to reduce your salary to $180,000. Generous for a CEO of a company this size. You're going to submit quarterly expense reports to the board for approval. And you're going to focus on actually building a sustainable business instead of curating an Instagram presence. And if I refuse, then I'll call in my investment. Your other investors will follow. They're already nervous, as you can see. I gestured at the faces around the table, none of whom were meeting Brittany's eyes. Elevate will fold within 90 days, and your CEO life will become a very public failure. She didn't refuse. The meeting ended with a restructuring plan, a new budget, and a chastened Brittany who'd learned that the scholarship girl she'd mocked for 2 decades had been holding her leash the entire time. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The facts spoke for themselves. Afterward, in the elevator, my phone buzzed with a text from Zoe. How'd it go? I typed back, *educational. For everyone involved, *. 2 weeks later, Brittany deleted the post about me. She didn't apologize, that would require admitting fault, which wasn't in her programming. But she quietly removed the evidence, hoping the internet would forget. It wouldn't. Screenshots live forever. But that wasn't really the point. The point was never public humiliation or social media victory. The point was showing Brittany, and myself, that power doesn't always announce itself. For 20 years, she'd measured success by visibility, followers, features, photos of corner offices. She'd built a life designed to be seen, never understanding that the most powerful people are often the ones you never notice. I'd built something different, something quiet, something real. And when it mattered, that reality had proven more powerful than all her performance. Elevate is still operating. Under the new budget, they've actually improved their metrics. It turns out focusing on product instead of publicity produces results. Brittany is still CEO, though significantly less flashy. She's learning, slowly, that substance matters more than style. I still attend board meetings. I still review the financials. I've even offered genuine advice when she's been willing to listen. We're not friends. We never will be. But there's a respect now that wasn't there before. The kind that comes from understanding you've underestimated someone completely. Zoe asked me once if it felt good, finally showing Brittany who I really was. It felt necessary, I told her. But the real satisfaction isn't in proving anything to her. It's in knowing who I am, regardless of what anyone else thinks. She considered this with the seriousness of 16. So you didn't do it for revenge? I did it for correction. There's a difference. What's the difference? Revenge is about making someone suffer. Correction is about making sure they see clearly. I smiled. Brittany spent 20 years looking at me without seeing me. Now she sees. What she does with that vision is up to her. The post is gone now, but I kept a screenshot. Not as a trophy, as a reminder. A reminder that the people who mock you rarely know the full story. That success isn't measured in likes or followers or corner offices. That the most powerful response to cruelty isn't cruelty in return. It's competence so undeniable that it requires no defense. Brittany built a brand. I built a fund, a family, and a life I'm proud of. One of those things can be taken away with a bad quarter or a viral scandal. The other can't. I know which one I'd choose. Every time.